Welcome to the Uncommon Woman Network, a talk show network of the uncommon, unlikely chosen generation, where a radical space and collective opens unceasing pursuit that calls forward the significance waiting for you. Listen, I'm your show host, Jessie Liv, direct leader of Dallas Lighthouse Revival Training Center, planted in Central South Dallas of Texas, founder of Liberate the Flame International, owner and CEO of Liv Company, a 5-year flourishing kingdom store and business. I'm a world travel itinerant speaker and mama to my most favorite person in the entire world, my Lily Grace. So listen, welcome to your next mark and your new beginning of the uncommon destiny that is on your life. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Listen, I'm glad that you're here. Sometimes we need to hear that somebody out there is glad that, well, we're here. And that somebody is me today. So whether you're watching in the morning on your way or your drive to work, whether it's your lunch break or whether it's your drive home in the evening, I am just glad that you are here. We're already going into our episode 3. It's going to be a radical episode that I believe is going to bless you like wildfire. But before we get started, go ahead, do me a huge favor. Whatever network that is your most favorite, go ahead, hit that notification bell on your favorite platform, whether it is iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcastle. Just go ahead, hit that bell so that you get notified every new and brand new episode that arises so you don't skip a beat. Also, hit those 5 stars in our 5-star review. Go ahead and just know that your support is our support. So every little area of your support helps us tremendously. So here we are going into our next week episode, the most messiest, most incredible words that will alter the course of your life and change everything. And those words are this, my friend: make me into exactly what I'm tailored for God. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick, brief story. Before I ever got to say or mention those words, you need to hear this quick story. So get ready, put your seatbelt on, because it's a powerful story. I was just a 19-year-old girl when all of this started for me. I had come from a background narrative raised by a single mother until the age of 4. I was loved later by a father figure and a guardian in our home. I was growing up with an older teenage sister that had its own challenges and its own traumas. I'm sure you could put the insert there and let it fill your imagination on what I'm talking about. Can I get an amen? I was very soft in the areas of emotion and sensitivity. However, whenever I needed the fire or whenever I needed to pull out that attitude, you best believe I pulled it out when it was needed. So needless to say, I was not raised in a believing home, so society's mainstream dysfunction became my normal. It became my narrative. My mother was afraid. She was tired. She ended up leaving by the age of 15. I was a drug addict by 16. I was in clubs, underage bars became my home. Everything from nightclubs, homosexual clubs, strip clubs, any club. Others that were lost became my companions. I ended up finding home and companions in others that were lost out there. I spent years of my adolescence both running and finding. Now that's an interesting enigma to say, because even though I was running from many things, I was still searching intuitively for many things as well. And I ended up finding a measure of creativity that saved my life. Creativity was actually a life vest until I ended up finding my anchor in God. Now that will preach. Creativity was a life vest. It helped me float along, and it was my harbor in from the storm. But there came a point in my life at the age of 19 where I found a radical anchor in God. Now, this isn't a testimony. This isn't a testimony episode. This is not that. But I have to tell you what this is so I can lead you into what I found that will actually bless you and put you on the position for a greater exploit. So hang on tight with me, and I guarantee you it will be worth your 15 minutes. Art ended up having a say in all of the things that I wanted to say that I couldn't say. Now, I know that that would make some sense to you. My young years, I was burning, knowing that there was so much more on the inside of me, and I couldn't understand why my life was playing out the way that it was. How many of us live that way? We know that we are destined for something beyond us. We can feel it in our depth of our belly and the depth of our heart, but yet we cannot understand why our life has been dealt the cards that has been dealt, or the circumstances have been playing out the way that they've been playing out. I felt like I was caught in the middle of someone else's painful story that tried to be its narrative for me. All right? But one sudden day, my friend, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And I said those words, make me into exactly what I am tailored for, God. Bring me to the place where I am who I feel I am on the depth of myself and who I am supposed to be. But had the mess had not been there in the beginning, I wouldn't have recognized the greater measure on the inside of me to say these words to a God, to the Lord that was creator, that had a greater significance to lead me beyond where I currently was. Now, greater uncommon things lead us from a beginning of advantage point of a mess. The mess calls the gold from us. The mess calls the gold from us. Mess calls the gold from us. How do we know this? Let's look at the process of how a diamond or fortified gold that came about in the earth. I don't want to just talk about how it's all cleaned up from the purpose of man's delight to deal with selling and handling. I don't want to talk about how it's cleaned and how it's sold out there into the earth. I want to talk about how did it get here. And that's what's going to blow your mind. Scientific studies show gold's production in the universe comes from something that's called an R process. Now, this is what was crazy. A rapid neutron capture in a supernova nucleosynthesis, a collision or explosion of stars in the earth that comes from a neutron dust. Studies show satellite spectrometers at first only indirectly detected the resulting of gold. The electromagnetic observations of a neutron star merger event produced enough gold to account for most of the abundance found in the earth. Planetary sinkings of the gold in the planet's core. In other words, a messy explosion that would create the world's most valuable deposit came from an asteroid impact. A messy impact would set the backdrop for eternity's most valued product found in the earth, in the globe, in the existing planet that me and you live and breathe and start our day in. You can't tell me God's not in the mess. He starts in the mess, he begins in the mess, and his most greatest standing point is at the beginning of nothing, the nothing of a Genesis, the nothing of your Genesis. In fact, that's what he began to create the entire earth and the world that we know of in creation in the beginning of a nothing, in the beginning of what looked like havoc, begun to form something that would last for an everlasting eternity. He creates and he tailors your very life. The forming of the most valuable thing impacts the earth, comes from what he engraves as value. And that speaks of where your life and your story begins to begin with God. When you begin to pray things like, when you begin to start your day with the words like, I just want you to tailor me to form and to become what I feel is of value and of greatness and greater exploits on the inside of me. I had to begin to pray things like this. God, forge me into the woman, the person that I see in my heart to become. The vision you engraved in me that gave me the mind of business and business owning to create and build the empire that you revealed to me. Uncover every skill and every joy in my DNA to shift the society and the culture for better. Grant me the grace to excel over my borders and to obey each following step of instruction and direction, to bring my life into exactly what I was tailored for, even if the beginning started with a messy impact. Even when my existence came into breath in the beginning and it started out messy, I know that the beginning of the mess and the abrupt impact that may have hit me so hard has an ending value that could bring impact to the earth, just like the story of the production of gold. We hear all the time about how gold is processed and refined once it gets into the hand of the seller. But we don't talk about how it began. We don't talk about how gold started. So I'm here to tell you right now, my precious friends, how it started has to start messy, because without the mess, you won't see the potential. Without the mess, we won't see the value. But the value never starts without the messy. It never starts without the messy. So I came to find that the secret of life was praying daring prayers, was believing crazy things, that an uncommon life that started so uncommon like mine could come to such a place in godly purpose and godly favor that would send me out to preach the gospel throughout all of the earth over the last 5 years, would bring me to such a place of a substantial business, of owning it all the way through 5 years to this day, to this minute. Mark it at my word right now. It's still standing. It didn't die out. It didn't fade out, and it didn't end. It's still running today. livecompany.shop, this most amazing online store that God had birthed over 5 years ago that actually plateaued during COVID. The world's most wrong economical time to thrive in any type of business. That was our highlight marker. That was the time we soared. That was our rocket ship. Now you can't tell me that the messy is not God's most epic time to show himself strong, to show himself off. What does this have to do with you? Well, because just like the story of gold, you need to recognize that you are the gold in the earth. You need to recognize that the most uncommon beginning of your life and the most uncommon moments and the most uncommon circumstances, even right now, are developing the value to leave an impact throughout the earth. You just need to be crazy enough to come back into those moments where you're praying crazy again, where you're starting to believe wild again, where you're starting to have those dreams resurrect and believe that it's possible again. So I'm just that friendly reminder today to remind you that it is time in 2024 to get those prayers back up and running, to get that hope set before you back up and thriving, so that you can know that you are the diamond, that you are the gold, that it may have started and began one way, but that's not how it's ending. You are the steerer with God in this ship called life, in this voyage called life. And the potential is up to your yes, not by your decisions to deny what is hard, but for you to recognize that what's been messy and difficult is working for you to produce what's actually tailored in your destiny, what's actually tailored for you. So I'm going to bless you with that short an encouraging episode with you today, my friend, and just knowing that it is just the beginning. It is just the starting point for you, that you can begin and re-begin any day, and recognizing that, it doesn't have to end where the mess begins. But in fact, it begins where the mess starts. So wherever it's messy, keep going, keep beginning, because that is your tailored value in continuing on in this journey of uncommon exploits. Be encouraged. I'll see you in our next episode. Can't wait to see you for our episode 3, coming in from Jessie Liv, Dallas, Texas region. It's been great being with you here for our network. Like I said, go ahead and hit that 5-star review for us, and I will see you next time.